Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday afternoon and hello everyone. Wow, there's a lot going on in this world right now. And I thought Mercury Retrograde was supposed to be a time of like inner insight, taking care of self and not making rash decisions. And what do I wake up to? Tucker Carlson is leaving Fox, mutual agreement. Don Lemon got fired. He's crushed. Brittney Spears is doing some weird Instagrams and some strange dancing on those Instagrams. So if you're in the energy healing world, even as a armchair healer, hello, send Brittney some love. Brittney Spears has been manipulated by the machine for a long time. And she breaks free every once in a while just to get caught back. Whoa! Jiminy! To get caught back into all of that. Looks like we're going to be talkative. There's like a ton of cards that just went flying out. So, Brittney's going... So, and I'll tell you what, this is how I think of things. When things are kind of out of whack, or we have people doing out of whack things, that usually tells me that they are doing a lot of, and I'm going to call it ritual. Now, everybody seemingly thinks that when you talk about somebody doing ritual, that, that they're standing around a pentagram or whatever it is, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, we can do rituals walking down the street. We can do, prayers are a form of a ritual, so anything in your life can be done in a ritual sense, depending on what the intent is how you're doing it, why you're doing it, etc. And so what I kind of look at is when those people that I know or feel really deep in my heart are being manipulated by the machine start acting out or doing things, that kind of gives me an inclination that their work in ritual, they're doing a lot of energy work, and all energy work isn't positive, okay? Let's just keep it real. And so let's look at it right now that Brittney is one of my markers, and if Brittney's acting out, then there's something going on in the energetic world, just to kind of clarify that. And that's why I was like, I really need to do a reading today. I've got the Urban Crows. So let's, before we start reading those cards, let's smudge and clear any kind of unnecessary stuff from our essence. Okay, so that we see things with greater clarity and better discernment. Hi, Paul. How are you? And that, I've got these right over here. Okay, we've got a lot of cards today. A lot came flying out. So make sure you've got yourself something yummy to drink or whatever your snacks are on the side. And let's get rolling. Our first card coming in here, and this is the energy coming in, is fear. And this is what I want to say. They want us, they're trying to instill a sense of fear and panic. So it was like today when you find out that rival networks both fired or let go, whatever, their main stars, Tucker Carlson on Fox, and then it was Don Lemon on CNN, and both of them have been released from their contracts with their respective networks. So when you start looking at the little things, we're going to have a lot of we're going to have a lot of dropping of hints or innuendos that cause fear. All right, so that's kind of like the energy, what we're talking about, the energy coming in. They're trying to instill a sense of fear. Now, here is the obstacle to this, is observation. So our eyes are open. Yes. In observation, our eyes are open, our ears are open, we're watching, we're listening, and we're allowing things to process. So I'm going to say, as it is Mercury retrograde, it is important that you really focus on the observation and less on the way that you react. And less on the way that you react. Observe. So that right there is the obstacle. That's going to be this obstacle to the fear, because you're going to be able to differentiate what is truth and what is junk. Okay, now here, I really like this card because this is in regard to that fear. So when they want to do some fear mongering and get us all worked up and worried about things that are probably not even really existent or very, very small and minute, we're paying attention and we're observing, we're listening, we're watching, we're processing. And what happens that when we are taking in our own self and holding our own self and protecting, that fear-mongering is going to die off. They cannot get you with that. They can't. Not at all. Not at all. Right through there is that fear-mongering. This is going to die through. They're going to realize that it's not going to work and that we're not going to play into any kind of games. Not socially, not religiously, not politically, not spiritually, nothing. We're not going to play a game. Now, but what we are going to do is we're going to learn to enjoy what's around us and take time to bring that self in. Take time to bring that self in and work on self through this. Work on self. So we've got that play card that's coming in after they're trying to give us nonsense, trying to work us up. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. But what we are going to do is we're going to take some time and we're going to play. We're going to enjoy our families. We're going to enjoy our family. Yep, here we go. Here's the next batch of these cards. Remember, a whole bunch came flying out. So we're going to take the time to enjoy our family and live our lives. We're going to move forward and not get caught in their minutia, or in the minutia, anybody's minutia. Whoops. Now, there's a whole bunch of cards and they came filing off of that. I apologize. Okay, so our next card here is commitment. And what I'm feeling in here is being true to self. When I'm looking at this, I feel like this is an indicator that we are beginning a cycle, hopefully that will keep cycling, that loves self and is committed to self and your own success. It's, I feel like that's a really good card through there. It's like being connected in and you finally feel in your skin. The perspectives have changed in this. And this is where you start having this, in this perspective card here, this is where you start noticing that you are seeing life from a different perspective. This is when you notice that you are starting to see life from a different perspective. I think of that card and the energy that I feel behind it, and I just feel it going like in my soul, my spirit. There is, it's like that feeling when you learn a what is it called, a shortcut through something, and you never realized how close that particular place was. So it's kind of like, my father used to always tell me the shortest distance between two places is a straight line. And he would say, so I need you to walk straight to the garage and go do that and then come back in. Because he knew that when I walked out that door, I was going to take 1,000 detours before I got to that destination. So I would see a whole lot of things that were probably not necessary. And then when I started to look at things from exactly as he said about that straight line, I realized that things were a lot more definitive. Now, I won't disagree that it was kind of fun to take the detours, but I missed a lot that was part of that straight line. And that's what I'm looking at here, is that we've been taking many detours to get to a particular place that if we had looked at it from a different perspective, it was only 5 steps away. So why did it take us that long to get there? That's what I'm feeling on that particular card right here on perspective. Distractions are always there. We always have a distraction. Think about when we have babies, or when we are a baby and we start to get fussy and start crying, and our parents distract us with the keys, jingling the keys in our face. Or I always think about when my kids were when they were young and they were naughty, especially Juan. He was perfect at this. That they would do they would be getting in trouble for something, and I would be talking to them or maybe yelling at them, and then all of a sudden they would do something really cute and it would make me laugh. So they distracted me from my anger, right? Well, when I'm looking at this distraction card here, what I'm really feeling in there is more about distractions that really don't work, that you automatically can perceive it as a unnecessary distraction, or a distraction with, and I'm going to call it malintent. Distraction with malintent. Now, I know that a lot of people are really, really worried about upcoming times. They're worried about food shortages. They're worried about gas shortages. They're worried about high prices and inflation. And when I'm looking at this card, I'll tell you what I'm getting on this card. I am getting a card that says, we're not going to have those problems like you think we are. We are not going to have those problems like you think we are. It is always wise to be conservative, but you will not be scavenging to survive. Things aren't going to be as bad as forecasted or the way people think through there. Curiosity killed the cat. Okay, and that was the very first thing that came up when I looked at this, was curiosity killed the cat. However, I'm going to take it a little bit in a different perspective, because I started laughing and it was like, no, seriously, what this card is that the doors are opening for you. The doors are opening for you. Okay? The curiosity is, are you willing to look inside that door? Are you willing to look in that doorway and see what's on the other side? Oh, hey, Pamela, how are you? So curiosity killed the cat, maybe, but this is more about doors are opening and giving you opportunity, but are you willing to look inside? Are you curious enough to look inside? Okay, so I'm going to ask a question with this. Why are you concerned with the welfare of others when you aren't always so diligent to your own well-being? That is that card there. This is a card, when I'm looking at this, and in the scheme of the theme of what we're reading on today, I see this as a card, Mercury and tornadoes. I know! I'm looking at this card here as being more concerned with the well-being of others and less concerned with the well-being of self. Now, Mercury Retrograde is a time when we are supposed to be working on our own well-being, that we come within and we work within, we disconnect from the minutia outside so that we rest, we rejuvenate. That's why they call it retrograde, right? So that we rest and we rejuvenate and we get ourselves back into a good alignment. So when I'm looking at this card here, this card is not talking about us being in a good alignment. It's talking about us worrying about everything else other than ourselves. And it's important that we start putting some concern and interest into self through there. Okay, and then I get the resistance card, and it's like, why are you resistant to loving on yourself? Why are you the last person in line? You cannot fill everybody else's cups when your pitcher is empty. And what is it that's going to happen for you to resist self-care? What is going to happen? Let's see what happens through there. Abundance. Oh, that's not even that. That's just kind of like the last of that resistance. So we've got the abundance card here. And I'm like, how the hell did that have to do anything with anything? I don't know. But what I'm looking at here when I'm looking at this abundance card, and I'm going to say it has a lot to do with going back to that, where's that scavenge card? The scavenge card. Where did you go? I can't find it. There it is. Remember when we saw this? Oh, it was actually upside down. And I said, you really don't have to work that hard. This kind of loops back or circles back around to that scavenge card. You know, we all, like I said, at this time right now, they're like trying to plant all these different seeds of fear. They did this back in 19. They did this back in 15. So it doesn't surprise me that they're starting to do that now. So it's like both sides of the battle want to place us almost in a war or being very, very divisive against each other. What happens, though, is that we start observing, we start paying attention, and we start processing that information and what's happening. And we work on our own collective energies. We work on our own collective groups and our collective communities. And what happens is that we actually overcome. We've got some good overcoming here in this energy. Even though that we've got a lot of negative things that are kind of playing in that way, we are actually going to do very well. And this wrath here is, and I'm going to say what the enemy experiences. Okay, it makes me think of that movie, The Birds, from Alfred Hitchcock. But when I'm looking at this and consider, that we're right after the abundance card, and knowing that we're kind of talking a little bit about how, and I'm just going to call them our enemies, our frenemies, that's just a real colloquial or loosely used term, want to see us in a state of fear. They want us feeling negative. They want us feeling bad, because it's easier to manipulate our thoughts. It's easier to manipulate our beliefs when we're feeling down. When we're really strong and our energy is good and we're in a good perspective, it's really hard to throw somebody off kilter when they're in a good place. And so that abundance card and then wrath coming in, and it's like I feel like it's Rocky and Bullwinkle, and Boris and Natasha again are defeated, and they don't like it. They don't like it at all. But we're in a strong place, guys. We're in a strong place. Your eyes are open. You're starting to see things. You're starting to put back what you need to put back, and you're starting to pull out what you need to pull out. You're starting to work with the things that you need to bring you prosperity for that day, to plant those seeds for prosperity for that week, so that in a month or a year that you're harvesting what you want to harvest in a positive manner. Memory. Good old days is what I felt right there, was the good old days. We don't always have that in our heart. Sometimes we have to go back and look at pictures, go through the photo albums or the scrapbooks and bring back those happy memories or those good memories of the things that were of the past, and then bring that vibration up to the future or up to the present, so that we not only do we remember the good things of our past, but we can celebrate them and bring them forward through there. And that's why I think they're like walking forward through that. I like this card because when I see mimicry is often about being imitated. And animals, okay, sorry. So mimic, to be, like, she mimicked me, she's making fun of me. And then we can also have mimicry where we're trying to connect in. And so when I'm looking at this particular, the crow and the dog, and I was like, if the crow is probably mimicking the dog, the bark of the dog, and messing with that dog's head. It's done. I don't think it's done in viciousness. I'm not feeling it in viciousness. I'm feeling it as in love. Almost as an attempt to connect and find a common ground. Like, hey, we both can bark. That dog is looking up at that crow, and he is in a sense of awe and amazement, but he's also just a little bit on the fearful side. I get this like, what the heck? Look on this dog's face. So that mimicry, just because you feel it's mimicry or they're making fun or mimicking you doesn't mean that it's always a negative thing. Often people will mimic and imitate those that they love and respect. And then our last card for this reading is the growth card. So we have a lot of negative things that are going to be thrown our way, trying to create stress and fear and all sorts of unwanted vibration. But you know what? We're going to weather through this, and we're going to do just great. We're going to do just fine because you've been doing some particular things. You've been loving on yourself, and now you're going to love on yourself just a little bit more. You've been sitting back and observing and listening and allowing that to process so that you have the ability to discern what is truth and what is a lie. It's a good thing to have. And that no matter how bad they want to see you in fear and how bad they want to see you suffer, you're going to come out flying colors, doing things great, and have everything that you need to be happy and to feel content and take care of business. So I like this energy. And even though there's a lot of negative things flying our way, don't forget to pray for Brittney. Send her some healing energy. Again, Brittney is my little marker, and when Brittney starts acting foolish on her Instagrams, etc., I know that she's being triggered by ritual manipulation. So send Brittney some love if you can do that. Good things will be happening. Just sit back and watch and wait and be mindful. Peace, love, and harmony. I'll see you really soon.